Okay, everybody, let's get down to business then, shall we? You remember that video I did last week or whatever, about Nintendo trying to sue Yuzu? Well, Yuzu, not even a week later, it's already been settled as Yuzu has folded, and they are paying Nintendo millions of dollars in damages as a result of them settling this outside of court. So here's what it has to say. Yuzu will pay 2.4 million in damages to Nintendo to sue their lawsuit. This was mutually agreed by both parties. Now, unfortunately, regarding the Yuzu, okay, it is what it is. It seems that Nintendo had a pretty good case here, but as a result of this, they also managed another emulator called Citra. What was that? It is a 3DS simulator, and as a result of that, it was caught in the crossfire as that's being shutting down too. The GitHub repository, along with all downloads, have been removed.
What? What the fuck?
Okay, let's talk about this for a second, right? Okay, user getting shut down. You'll find out later why I think Nintendo went after them so hard. And two, really unfortunate with the 3DS because as far as I know, Nintendo didn't target that emulator. It was specifically the Switch one, so it was definitely collateral damage. Unfortunately, it is what it is. I'm not quite sure if there's other 3DS emulators out there. I'm sure there possibly are, and if so, they're not obviously quite as popular as Citra is. Same thing with Yuzu for the Switch emulation scene. So yeah, definitely an L, especially for Citra for 3DS emulation, especially because Nintendo shut down the eShop for the 3DS. So hundreds of games are going to be lost to the abyss if emulation for 3DS doesn't continue. It's unfortunate, but definitely a big L for game preservation. But now, with that disclaimer out of the way, let's get into the shady crap because, oh man, I wouldn't even know where to start. We're going to start off with the suite right here. Keep in mind, the user team has a history of stealing code and has been paywalling builds of their emulator for years. They had it coming, but since they decided not to go to court, Right, Jinx, if I said that wrong, I apologize, can live on freely. So there is good news that it's not the end of the world for Switch emulation, but no doubt personally has a big blow on it, but that's not the end of the world. So the doom and gloom can kind of slow down a little bit, but let's keep going. This is where it really gets interesting, as you can see here. User emulator, they have a hardcore anti-piracy stance and even a spammer bot in their Discord, as you can see here. User is illegal. We don't support illegal activities. Dumping your purchase games and system files from your Switch is legal. Downloading them is not. Because there's actually tools out there so where you can actually back up your Switch games to your PC so then you can play them on Yuzu emulator. Now continuing, but at the same time, they have a Google Drive folder for developers full of pirated ROMs despite them raking in plenty of money to buy games. For context there, what they are talking about is that they get, what was it, like 36K off of their Patreon a month, so they are making money off of this for sure. And I think that might be another reason why Nintendo went after Yuzu specifically, but again, that's just pure speculation on my part. Anyway, continuing. Here's what let's see. Proof. Have you heard about the new Xenoblade? Me, I don't give a blank about Xenoblade. Well, we gotta download it. Use a stash. How big is it? Just 14 gigabytes. Blanking 14 gigabytes, lol. This will take this a while. As you can see here, yeah, they downloaded it. You can see it for themselves. You see kind of why. So again, you're starting to see why, but yeah, let's keep going because like this is getting really crazy. Like it's insane. As you can see here, they got greedy and worked with a sketchy Nintendo Online clone and tried to implement online play as a Patreon exclusive feature. See, the more you see what I mean, the more we keep going, the more shady it gets around here. Like this is pretty crazy. Anyway, continuing. As you can see here in the picture before we read the top, this will always be the worst blank Yuzu has ever done. F blank that. I'll just choose not to post it all in public channels. Tell me the last time you discovered waifus in the casual, never to my knowledge. Only really posting development channels on Yuzu. Yuzu's the worst all for it. If the cache and discovery more, we wouldn't be in this freaking mess. So seemingly they were kind of well aware, but even still, then they're still doing this shady business. Like it's well. Anyway, you continue it. Like I said, they delay updates for Patreon dollars and wasted months of time on the Patreon exclusive online that ultimately got trashed. Like it should have been. That was a terrible idea to freaking begin with. Why that was even attempted is ridiculous. Anyway, finally, remember the stolen code? This is what they were talking about. I'm going to leave myself anonymous and make this very blunt. So basically, what happened was this account called Pineapple EA submitted Linux fixes for Yuzu, and they refused to merge those fixes for so long after. And the reason was because they distributed Yuzu EA on pineapple.github. But the thing is, it's not illegal to distribute EA, and they're mainly for Linux users because they refused to make an actual downloader for Linux. Hence, why pineapples were created. Yesterday night, but no, I guess the lead developer on this decided to take their code and removed the name of it and claim it has his own. No, this is all legal under Yuzu CLA. It's just morally wrong. All I want to raise awareness is what the CLA is capable of, and they actually listed all of the pull requests stole from him. By the way, it's all hidden, but I'll had them, and I guess there was also a comment made in the link description, so if you can find the post, you can look at it for yourself.
You blew it. Capiche?
Oh, oh, guys, what are you doing? You really screwed the pooch big time. Gee, like, did you really think you were gonna get away with this ultimately? But my initial thinking was, okay, Nintendo has pulled Nintendo. They actually freaking did it again. But after doing like digging into this, it makes sense why Nintendo went after Yuzu specifically because of what they were doing behind the scenes, bragging about pirating games. Let's see what else. They stored source code for the emulator. What else was there? They tried to make online play a paywall behind a freaking, up their Patreon. I didn't even mention this, but they're actually I don't know if this is legit or not, but based on everything else, it probably is. But they actually paywalled updates for like to get Tears of the Kingdom compatible on Yuzu when the game was coming out last year. So it just gets getting worse and worse for them. So for once, Nintendo is actually in the right on this one because, yeah, the thing about emulators is that typically they're passion projects for freaking free in almost every single case. There's a very good reason why Dolphin, remember the cease and desist it got last year? It's still around. So I'd say that was a very good reason. And because of that, Dolphin is still around because they're not paywalling crap behind a Patreon or something like Yuzu is. Like, you want to make money? Sure, okay. Like, ask for like donations, but to try to gatekeep features that people would want behind it, and not to mention stability updates for games and all this, you wonder why Nintendo went after your butt so freaking hard. Like, gee, it's just common sense not to do shady crap like that. It's just basics common sense. So, I never thought I'd be defending Nintendo in this situation, but for once, I actually have to because Yuzu was pulling some shady crap behind the scenes, and hopefully the talented people can actually go to the other Switch emulator, kind of keep things up and running with that. And as long as they don't pull the same crap that Yuzu was pulling, Ratchet should be safe. So it's not the end of the world. I mean, whether Nintendo realizes it or not, people are gonna get emulate no matter what. They can't stop it, just by how long they've been trying it. It's gonna once you take the dragon's head off, three more will come out. That's just the way it is. So emulation will always exist. But wow, what a crazy situation this is, man. It sure didn't take long for us to get an answer on whether this would go on. I guess it kind of makes sense. I bet you Yuzu's lawyer was telling him, yeah, like you need to fold because of all this damning evidence out there. This could set I would say, a very bad precedent if it actually did go to court and Yuzu would lose. And based on the damning evidence, they would lose. So it was the right thing to do for them to settle it. Now, so unfortunately, I guess Right Jinx, the other Switch emulator, can still exist, but I guess we'll see what happens I guess at this point. And also, it's kind of convincing. You remember that theory I said because I wonder if the Switch 2 is gonna have the same flaw that the Switch 1 had in terms of security. And I think that's why Nintendo is just now deciding to, because that's truly the case. Yeah, it kind of makes sense. So Switch 2 emulation could be faster than we think. If that is the case about the security flaw on Switch 2 is the same as what the Switch 1 went with, which would be a huge L on Nintendo's part because they didn't learn from their mistakes at all with the Switch 1 in terms of security because it was so easy to pirate the Switch to hack it. It was so freaking easy. I think the Yuzu emulator came out like within a year of the Switch being on the market. There was already a Switch emulator that existed. But yeah, I guess Yuzu has nobody to blame for themselves, and yeah, I would have had sympathy for them before finding out all this information. Now it makes complete sense when you really think about it. But I think that's everything I have to say on this. What do you guys think of this? Are you surprised that they would fall so quickly, or were you not surprised? I'm sorry, were you surprised that they didn't take it to court? Let me know down in the comment section below. But I guess you reap what you sow, Yuzu. I mean, you had it coming. Like sooner or later, you were gonna get caught, and this is what happened. But yeah, that's all I gotta say on this one, and I'll see you on the next one. Till then, have a good one.